connect, you lose control. I can target anyone, anything, anywhere.
They're moving the money.
No fingerprints, no trace. No mercy.
Black Hat is an upcoming film set within the world of global cybercrime. It's a fictional world, of course, that now seems a little bit all too real. Radical Islamist groups and others use social media outlets and the dark internet to make their plans and spread a deadly message every second of every day. It's a pleasure to welcome back to MidPoint security and forensics expert and senior instructor for the SANS Institute. In other words, someone who knows of what he speaks in the internet. Paul Henry joins us on the show. Paul, thanks so much for being here.
Great to be back.
Pleasure. Thank you so much. Is it not fair to say that years gone by, criminals have skulked in the shadows, they have passed notes back and forth, it has taken time to do things. But in this world of the internet right now, especially from Islamist groups and those terrorist groups looking to conduct their form of hate, to recruit, if you will, they can do it in seconds and they are completely lost to us. We can't find them.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's real-time communications with complete anonymity today.
So then how do we, well, wait a minute, before we get to the how we stop them, how exactly do they use not just the internet, but there's something called the dark internet that I don't think most people know about, and that's an entirely different aspect, correct?
Well, we'll touch on both real quickly.
Please.
With the dark internet, typically you're going to use a technology known as Tor, T-O-R, that allows you to completely anonymously visit this dark internet that's blocked off from the normal public internet. There's roughly 2.5 million people per day using Tor to reach things like the dark net.
How do they get there?
Using Tor. It's an internet connection that connects up through the multiple Tor servers. You're connecting through a large number of servers, and that kind of eliminates the ability to track you down back to your originating IP address. So you have that additional anonymity that comes from using Tor.
Okay, so they get onto it, it basically splits and destroys the ID as they go through all the different servers.
That's a great way to put it, yes, exactly. Somewhat simplified, but a good way to put it.
What's the difference then between the dark internet and the current internet that everybody would know on a daily basis?
The dark internet is not reachable from the public internet. You're only going to access the dark internet using some service such as Tor.
But can you, though? Can somebody sit there at their home computer and access Tor through an internet pipeline?
Absolutely, absolutely, yes.
So then it's open to everybody, though, although it may be something that is not readily out there.
It's open to those who know of it.
Okay.
Exactly.
Is it fair to say that those who know of it, that of most people who use it, we are talking about illegal activities?
Primarily, yeah. There's a lot of drugs sold. You can buy heroin, as an example, on the dark net. You can buy guns. You can buy uranium on the dark net itself. There's a number of different sites out there. At last count, there were about 6 highly prolific sites that are selling these types of goods on the dark net.
Is there any doubt to those of you who are experts in the field that people who are the terrorists in the world are using this dark net and they're basically just completely sliding by without being seen, heard, or even thought of?
You know, I've got to tell you, yes, they are using the dark net, but they're also using the public internet. We've seen ISIS posting messages on Twitter about beheading videos that were posted on Facebook, as well as YouTube, owned by Google.
So how do we then first start? Because you've already said it. When you go through all the different servers, you basically destroy the IP address and you can't find out where something is being sent from. But how do we then, as governments, as intelligence, CIA, call it whatever you will, how do we start to get into that and unlock that?
Well, the U.S. government was very instrumental in taking down a darknet site called Silk Road. Silk Road was found to be selling drugs somewhat openly through darknet. The drugs were sold and paid for using bitcoins, which made it untraceable as to who was purchasing the drugs themselves. So we killed it. Within months, we saw other sites expanding their capabilities and the traffic hitting those sites. In fact, they're saying today that 75% more drugs are being sold on darknet through alternatives to Silk Road. Again, there's 6 primary players: BMC, Sheep Marketplace, Agora, Evolution, the White Rabbit Anonymous Marketplace, Outlaw Market, and the Pirate Market.
Are these legal or illegal sites?
All those are illegal sites.
All illegal.
All illegal. But again, we took out Silk Road, but they were immediately replaced by alternatives. Regardless of how good a job I think we do at taking these sites down, somebody's going to be there to fill in the gaps very quickly.
So then how do we then, from your experience, start to use what we know and what we need to know to find the killers and get to their message, identify them, and stop them?
We obviously need international cooperation, and it completely does not exist today. It's primarily a jurisdictional issue. Even if you could identify the perpetrator, having the ability to then go and arrest and prosecute the perpetrator is somewhat non-existent in many regions of the world today.
Is there any one country that is the bigger roadblock to all this?
Not any one. You can look through Southeast Asia, you can look into Eastern Europe, you'll find many that are definitely impediments to this. It's not just one, it's a large group.
On a scale of 1 to 10, America's out here. The CIA, all the different groups are in there right now. The intelligence groups do what they can to fight cybercrime and to find the terrorists out there. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you say we are as American intelligence to be able to unlock it and find them?
Probably at about a 3 or 4.
That's frightening.
Yes, it is.
Why? Why are we so behind the curve?
It's the lack of international cooperation again. Simple issues such as, well, let's look at privacy legislation globally. Because of the large disparity in privacy legislation between Europe and the United States, we're having difficulties establishing cybercrime laws that can be effective both in the USA and over in Europe. They've always placed, privacy above commerce in Europe. In the United States, we always place commerce above privacy. Hence, having a law written that would impact privacy is going to be very, very different here in the United States than it would be in Europe. Simple things like trying to put together laws to prevent beheading videos from appearing on the internet. While they may be unacceptable here in the United States, in other regions of the world, they're perfectly acceptable. So getting that global cooperation, having a global definition of what would be moral or immoral is something that has to be somehow worked out.
30 seconds. Do we as Americans need to understand that in this global world of terrorism and the way things are passed through the internet, that sometimes our civil rights are going to be violated?
Absolutely, absolutely.
In order to be safe?
Absolutely, yes. I would fully agree.
But are we there yet? Why can't we get that?
Because we are not willing to accept anyone stepping on our civil rights, we'll say.
And we are continually passing the buck?
Passing the buck and getting hammered because of it.
That's a little frightening, boy, and a 3 and 4 has got to be better real quick.
It is, absolutely.
All right. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you.
Your expertise is very interesting. We're going to have to talk more about this dark net as we go through things. All right, Paul Henry joins us. We're going to break. We're going to come back, though, with a turn to American politics and the bigger-than-life possible candidate who attracts haters like moths to a New Jersey gas refinery flame. And would he be the man to lead America through a terrorist crisis? More on Chris Christie and everything else as we continue on MidPoint.